Chapter 24. Oedipus and the Pits of Hell. The warriors had all agreed that their new friends that they had just rescued had to travel with them, as they headed toward camp to meet Axel. Not expecting the 3 space cruisers, Axel hid herself, until she identified Zubin and Efusa. Axel shouted, "What are you guys doing back so soon?" Zubin shook his head. "Too much to explain right now, but we must get in touch with Aldhib, because a ship is to arrive tonight at, or around midnight, and we are not sure what he wants us to do." Axel said, "There's no way to tell where he is, but I would call this an emergency." She pressed the emergency button on her wrist. Simultaneously, everyone's communication devices vibrated, allowing everyone to see everyone else's location on the device. Aldhib called within 2 seconds. "What is it?" Aldhib asked. Axel said, "We have information that they expected the ship to arrive tonight around midnight." Aldhib said quickly, "Good work, and I will contact you later. Stay safe until you hear back from me." Aldhib quickly called Wanyanyekavu. "There is a ship that will be here in about 4 hours. Wanyanyekavu said, "Stay put, we will be there in 3. And disconnected. Aldhib said to himself out loud, 3? How in the fuck you going to do that? Wanyanyekavu yelled the battle cry to the top of his lungs and left Obe, Elijah, and Elisha and their men behind while the rest got on the jet ships and headed to Cuauhtémoc. Meanwhile, Axel and the rest at Vista Hermosa rested, for Axel had already prepared a meal for them in advance. They waited for Wanyanyekavu and his battalion since Aldhib and his crew were already hidden inside the main complex at Colonia Anahuac, awaiting Wanyanyekavu's arrival. 37 jet ships raced to Vista Hermosa, arriving just shy of 10:45 p.m. Wanyanyekavu radioed in just before he arrived there to check everyone's location and the situation at Vista Hermosa. Leaving the space cruisers there at Vista Hermosa, Axel was upset because the only thing she did all day was cook. Wanyanyekavu smiled and said as he opened his hand to her, "Here, ride with me." He radioed into Aldhib for his location. But Aldhib advised everyone to go black, because the ship was approaching quickly. Wanyanyekavu and the remaining jet ship stood there hovering over the lake's shoreline, awaiting Aldhib's call. When the ship arrived, it appeared out of nowhere, with no trail or lights to detect. It just appeared, then the sequence began. A light first shines on the tower and blinks 4 times. While the ship rotated at 180 degrees, then back to 0, then 360 degrees, it happened twice before 2 large doors slowly opened in the lake. The water splashed wildly as the ship approached the shore. Once the doors were open, there appeared to be a force field that prevented the water from going inside the opening. Then the spaceship made loud noises, and the force field created a pyramid-like shape, and steam appeared. Wanyanyekavu and the rest of his warriors began their race to the location in a V formation, and the V formation quickly became a U formation. At this time, the spaceship began its 360-degree counterclockwise rotation, and a beam of light shone into the opening. Aldhib radioed Wanyanyekavu. "According to Jamie, it's about to release the people inside." Just as he spoke, you could see the people covered in a clear gel lowered down in the beam of light. Wanyanyekavu arrived right when the 3rd person was being lowered into the opening. By this time, they were in their O formation and surrounded the ship. Wanyanyekavu ordered all speedsters to go up in the ship by the beam. Grace, Axel, and 2 more speedsters ran up the beam of light. Right when Axel entered the ship, guards noticed the intruders and the gun turrets on the building started firing upon Wanyanyekavu. Aldhib and Joy quickly destroyed the turrets as Joy created an electrical blast. Then 10 jet ships broke formation and quickly returned fire to the rest of the men as Aldhib, Joy, and Amardad forced their way into the tower. The people from the different towns and villages started running frantically away from the scene as more men showed up. Another group broke off the formation as Wanyanyekavu himself moved toward the opening. Seeing the bodies being lowered, he radioed the speedster to find the ship's pilot so they could land the ship, but they couldn't find the ship's pilot.